Coming up on Kochie's Business Builders, we boil down the strategy behind getting online browsers to shop locally, get some expert advice on protecting your data from cyber criminals, and how the amazing puppeteers behind King Kong maintain their industry-leading position. Welcome back to KBB, here in beautiful Melbourne this week. Some terrific tips coming up in today's show, but before we get into them, here's some news you can use. The Department of Education, Employment and Workplace Relations has pinpointed where growth will be greatest over the next 5 years, and the results may surprise. Education and training is forecast to add 65,000 new jobs, even with Australia still the most expensive place in the world to study. The fourth heaviest lifter will be accommodation and food services, where about 67,000 new positions will be created as the Aussie dollar slides south. Construction will add 100,000, and surprisingly, retail will add 110,000 new jobs. But the biggest shot in the arm of the economy? Healthcare. The best performer over the last 5 years will add another 180,000 jobs over the next 5. How will you tap into the growth? The rapid uptake of online retail has forced a whole bunch of local bike shops to close their doors. One small business hoping to avoid that fate by extending its offering online is Sydney-based BikeBug. To help make that transition a successful one, we sent in e-commerce authority Eddie McAlany to help make the local online market all theirs. BikeBug launched their online store a year ago, but are battling to convince Aussie customers to shop locally and fend off the threat posed by bigger online bike shops. General Manager Dominic Russo was on hand to take down tips for turning that challenge into a competitive advantage.
So tell me a little bit about BikeBug and what you do.
BikeBug commenced in 2005 just as a local bike shop. 3 years ago we saw the potential for an online presence, and just about 12 months ago we launched the website.
And what's been your biggest challenge selling online?
The biggest challenge has been trying to remain price competitive, not locally but on a global stage.
One of the things that I find with online retailers that have a bricks and mortar presence, it's such a competitive advantage versus, somebody having to buy a product, let's say from the US and from the UK. They can't feel, touch, but also there's a trust factor that they can call you at any time in your local time zone. You've got an advantage because you're a local player, you've got a local presence, and you have an online store. There's a lot you can do versus your international competitors, your larger corporations, is you can build a human touch. You can call every single customer that buys from your online store. You can actually spend 60 seconds, 30 seconds, just calling them and say, how was your experience? I know personally, very rarely does that happen. But when someone does do that, I can build a relationship with them, and then I can learn more about their needs. And my goal is to take that person from buying a single product to being a lifetime customer with me.
What are some of the ways I can get more traffic to our website and increase sales?
Yeah, there's a few things that I see for your website that I think could be improved. The content on your website, I think you've got a tremendous amount of content, a tremendous amount of products, but you're using manufactured content. So when Google looks at your content, product descriptions versus your competitors, it doesn't see a differentiation. So it doesn't give you that bump in search engine traffic that you want. What you can do is find, let's say, your top 10 best-selling products, create a video. Google loves video. You can create a video, a 2-minute video or a 60-second video talking about the advantages of your best-selling product or your newest product. You take that video, you put it on your website, that will increase your conversions, it'll also increase your Google search engine traffic, but then you can put it on YouTube and you can turn it into slides and put it on SlideShare and Vimeo, and so you can take that one piece of content and have it listed in multiple places, and that will help you get, again, more traffic. Then the other ways is building a social community through Twitter, through Facebook, and becoming very, very active. So taking advantage of your local presence, driving people to your online store, getting people into a newsletter. Every time somebody comes here, trying to capture their email address and their contact information, and then delivering really, really good, valuable content. Once you get people onto your website, there's what we call the conversion funnel. The first thing you need to have is a set of analytics so you can see this is how many people visited my website and this is how many people purchased. And that's what we call our conversion rate. And then over time, what you start to do is, how can I improve that conversion rate? There are certain things you can do that I noticed on your website that you don't yet do, is add credibility and trust to every single product page. When someone comes from Google, often they don't go to your homepage, read about your About Us page, read about your guarantee, and then go to a product. They're landing straight on your product. So they see the price, they might be interested. What happens if you have a video there that explains it? What happens when you have more content? Then what happens if you have testimonials there from other customers who purchased from you? What happens if you reiterate your money back guarantee, how long it takes to ship, etc.? This is what we call credibility and trust messaging on every single part of your website. That will help improve your conversion rate.
Sure, thanks, Eddie.
Yeah, no worries.
Coming up on KBB, expert advice on protecting all your important business data from cyber criminals. This business tip brought to you by NAB. We see Australian business. So, David, you say you see Australian business. I'm a retailer that's understanding the retail landscape is changing. What do you see for me?
Yeah, and you're right, Kochie, the landscape is changing and we need to change with that. So what you need is a product called NAB Transact. It's a speedy merchant payment system and it gives you great cash flow.
And not just retailers, tradies would love it.
Yeah, great for tradies. They don't need to have a merchant terminal. They can just use this through their mobile device and they can just immediately take the money off the customer after the job's done.
Can it cope with traditional payments as well?
Sure, if you need to do payments back in the office, so if you need to do telephone payments or online payments, we can use NAB Transact for that as well.
So it looks as though you've got the whole process sorted.
Yeah, we sure do, and we're not finished. We've got more product coming next year, and we really want to continue to develop our products around this on-the-spot mobile payments.
For more information, visit nab.com.au/small business. A recent survey of Australian small business owners found that almost 2/3 have experienced a cyber attack in the last 12 months, with over half of those copping 3 or more intrusions by internet pirates. To help your business protect against these punks, we saw some expert advice from the online security experts at McAfee.
Considering how many businesses are online today, I think it's more dangerous than ever. So what sort of numbers are small businesses facing in terms of attacks?
We found that almost half of Australian small medium businesses have had a cyber attack or a data breach that's involved a current employee or sometimes an ex-employee. And if you consider that we're also detecting close to 140,000 new attacks per day, it's a challenging landscape.
And what are the biggest or sort of most common issues facing small business security?
Some could be as simple as an employee that goes to a website, maybe without the right type of security on their system. They could get an email, so they fall for an email scam. It could be financially motivated, so they lose the business's banking information. It could be something a little bit more serious, like a data breach. They've lost a device, didn't have security. They've lost a hard drive or a mobile phone, as an example.
And what happens if a small business does get compromised by a cyber attack? Do they even know that it's happened to them?
Really depends on the type of attack. If you get an email and you click on a link, you may know pretty quickly that something's happened to you. Some of the financial scams that are going around at the moment, you may not know that you've had an issue for 6 to 12 months sometimes. You know, we've seen extreme cases where people have had issues that have taken 3 to 5 years to determine that they've had a problem.
And I know businesses love their mobile devices being able to work from anywhere, so tablets and smartphones. I mean, how does that change the landscape for protecting your business, and what should businesses do?
So it's an area that's a growing challenge. Almost all of the malware is being developed for Android. But I think it's safe to say that you can still use the devices. You just need to take some practical security steps. Make sure that you've got security software on the device that will detect any malicious application, stop you going from to a malicious website, as an example.
So which is more secure, local NAS storage or in the cloud storage?
Depends on the organisation. A lot of smaller businesses may not have a great firewall. They may not have the security practices that a cloud service provider may have. A lot of the advice that I give, if you don't have the skills necessary to secure the business, to have a secure firewall and secure your data, maybe it's a good practice to work with a service provider. They'll have a state-of-the-art firewall. They'll make sure that it's configured correctly. They'll be using technology like intrusion prevention to make sure that no one's penetrating the cloud infrastructure, as an example. So there'll be a lot of security tools that they'll be using that maybe are too complex or even expensive for a small, medium business. So it may be good practice to use a local service provider.
And apart from the employees, I mean, are there legal implications for employers in terms of protecting their customer data?
If you're making transactions and your customers are buying product through your website, there's certain types of security that is just mandatory. You have to roll it out. And you need to make sure that you don't lose any of your customer data. It could be an impact to your business, both financially and from a reputation perspective.
Next up, how world-leading animatronics outfit Global Creature Technology stays at the front of the pack. Global Creature Technology is the Aussie outfit behind booming productions Walking with Dinosaurs and King Kong. They're widely regarded as the best in the world at what they do, so we thought, who better to get tips for staying at the cutting edge of industry innovation? The man behind the magic at Global Creature Technology is founder and creative director Sonny Tilders. I sent in KBB's Alex Brophy to get his secrets for success.
You've been going for 7 years now, including a couple as Australia's top earning entertainment business. How have you managed that growth from startup to a world-beating business?
It's been interesting. We had a very rapid growth, if you like. You know, we started with 50 staff from day one. And for the entertainment business, as a fabricator and designer in the entertainment business, that's actually big.
Yeah, right.
So we started big. So the biggest management was that transition from being a temporary workshop to being a permanent business.
Okay.
And that was a slow realisation for me in particular, because I'd spent my life as a freelancer running projects, but I've never had to run a business. And certainly now I don't run the business. I have other people to help me with that side of it. But it's that whole permanency that is probably one of the biggest challenges to this business that we've had to deal with.
And Sonny, with projects like King Kong 5 years in the making, how do you go about protecting your intellectual property?
It's continuous improvement. It's very difficult for us to directly protect any of our IP. You know, we're developing IP all the time. And, you know, by the time, in some ways, by the time you turn around and protect some piece of development, you've already moved on to the next thing anyway. I mean, it's the nature of what we do is bespoke fabrication. So every project is something new. So we are predicated on that idea of continuous improvement. And we sort of feel with that heroic start of doing something so challenging with Walking with Dinosaurs that we've sort of got to jump on the rest, maybe a year or two of development, and now we just got to keep that year or two ahead of the rest from here on in. So it takes time and money, resources really, to stay ahead.
And how do you make that decision as to how much R&D spend you put in?
It's difficult. You know, when you're so busy, you have no time for R&D. When you're not so busy, you have no money for R&D. You know, so it's a difficult sort of balance, and we're just trying to find that middle ground now where we can plan that R&D. I suppose a lot of our R&D has been reactive to projects. Each project sets up that challenge in itself. Mm-hmm. So you respond to that directly, and you know, half of that you can take along to the next project. So it's sort of paid by the project in a way. But we are trying to find a way of being more proactive right now at this stage in our business so that we can not literally do the Google thing of doing, you know, 20% of their time is spent on R&D, but something akin to that. And actually, we're in the process of formulating that plan right now. And
obviously a very loyal, highly skilled staff is quite important to that. How do you manage that side of the business?
The staff are it, really. We don't have any fancy machinery. We've got a big shed and some space to build things. But our intellectual property, really, to answer your other question, is the staff. And what we've done, and our unique advantage, is that we've employed full-time staff, many of which have been with us for our whole 7 years history. So we have 35 full-time staff. And in doing that, you know, they're all essentially knowledge-based workers. Not only do they bring their knowledge to the workshop, but they learn stuff and they grow within the business and become more and more useful as a resource for us. So, you know, it's this nebulous thing of intellectual property, and I think our strongest investment, in fact, is in the people.
Okay. So, Sonny, what are the 3 keys to your success?
People, first and foremost. I think next is opportunity. You know, we had a unique opportunity and we made the most of it. And I think lastly, I think it's having someone take a leap of faith with us. Without that, none of this would have happened.
Great insights from Sonny on the importance of continually improving and investing in your staff. As he touched on, a lot of business competitive advantage lies in having highly skilled people with faith in the business vision. So getting your employees' buy-in is essential. Join the KBB newsletter to check out the full interview. It's definitely worth a watch. Coming up, we answer another of your small business specifics in Ask Kochie.
This segment brought to you by NAB. We see Australian business.
Hi, I'm Teresa McDowell from Hempempuray, based in Mount Barker, South Australia. I have a diploma in aromatherapy and a background in natural healing. And I thought, with my passion for hemp and the knowledge I have in aromatherapy, why not have a go myself and make a good natural Aussie homegrown product. So that's where the dream was really born. We wholesale to retail outlets. We are currently in around 40 health food stores and predominantly in South Australia. We're trickling out to the East Coast now. But a big percentage now and growing is our online presence and our sales directly to retail customers online. I think we're tracking at about 48% online business now. This last financial year we had a drop in sales to stores by about 24%. I think the retail market's struggling, yet online we had a growth of 15%. So it's where we're headed, definitely. We're doing a big social media push and we're really seeing the benefits of that, of creating community around your business. It's just about engaging, like putting as much content as you can and really getting discussions happening. And it doesn't always have to be just about your product and your brand. It can be about issues that affect the business that you're in, just trying to create dialogue with people. But it also, if someone throws you a scary question, it's really an opportunity for growth in your business and you have the opportunity to respond effectively to those criticisms or questions, and I think you can really embrace that side of it. So I'd really encourage people that are starting a small business or getting into social media more to look for their small business development organisations or local government workshops, because they're really invaluable. They really help to teach you, the things that you don't know. We had a lot of challenges because when we left Kalgoorlie and moved back to South Australia, we came with a business debt. So we had that and we didn't have much, any capital or assets to our names. But the beauty was the NAB had this unconventional type of loan, the micro business loan. And we had a good business plan and the NAB really caught a hold of that and shared our vision. And we were granted a micro loan to really get started. So it was really pivotal in helping us get off the ground. I mean, I have a very great relationship personally with my small business banker, Sandy, and she's always there for encouragement, or if I have a question, she's always on the other end of the phone. And I can see us, staying together as the business grows, because she does take personal ownership in our growth and where we're headed, which is wonderful.
For more information, visit nab.com.au/smallbusiness. This tech tip brought to you by McAfee.
Right now, Australian businesses are experiencing major threats to their security. A recent McAfee survey found that almost half of Australian small-medium businesses have experienced a targeted cyber attack in the last 12 months. It's good to know that security doesn't have to be complicated, it doesn't have to be time-consuming or expensive. So how can Australian businesses stay safe and secure? Firstly, make employees aware of the importance of security for their own and for your company's protection. Educate staff on the importance of password protection. Teach employees to create strong passwords and get them to change the passwords often. Secure all your devices. Employee mobility is a huge convenience, but with this also does come some risks. And finally, know the data that you're trying to protect. To get the right security solution, you really need to identify your critical information, know where it's stored and limit access to it. For more practical tips for protecting your business from cybercriminals, visit mcafee.com.au/SMB.
All right, let's answer some of your questions. This one from Alistair from Facebook. What tips do you have for multitasking and juggling jobs to ensure everything gets the time and attention it deserves, including the family? Well, Alistair, identify where you're wasting time, prioritise tasks and allocate time ahead of the week. Then stick to your schedule. Work out what is costing you the most time and what your time is worth, and make a decision on whether it's worth outsourcing some of these business tasks. People trained in bookkeeping, for example, will do a better job in shorter time than it takes you. And don't let meetings dawdle on, okay? Good luck with that. Well, it's been a great show today, but the action doesn't stop here. Each week, we'll be holding a live webcast midweek where we'll dive in deeper with our experts and answer any questions you have from this episode. Head over to koshesbusinessbuilders.com.au to sign up for this Wednesday's webcast. Catch you next time. Next week on KBB, finding investors for a new business, how to rescue an operation from a precarious position, and building a premium brand in a busy market with skincare success story, Julie.